Okay, what's up guys? My name is Sam Matler from EDMProd, and in this video I'm going to show you how to build a full track, a full song from scratch, from start to finish. So a few things to mention. The first is I'm doing this very quickly. I'm going to try and do this in under an hour. It might take a bit longer, but please note that because of this, because I'm trying to do it quickly, I'm not going to do everything perfectly. The point of this video is to give you an insight into my workflow, and if you're a new producer, give you an idea or a framework for making your own song. So my hope is that you won't just copy me, but you will take the concepts and the principles and the workflow that I use and use it for yourself and adapt it as you see fit. So this is the process that we're going to follow. We're going to start by writing out the core idea. We're going to get a chord progression and a melody down. Once we've done that, we're going to build up the drums section and a few extras. Then we're going to work on building a B section. If you don't know what a B section is, it's basically, let's say we have a chorus, we have 8 bars of our chorus, and then it goes into another section, which is still the chorus, but it sounds a bit different. We're going to build that. Now that may be used in our chorus, or it may be used as a bridge or a verse. I don't know yet. Then we're going to move on to arranging the full song. So we'll start up with an 8-bar section. We might turn that into 16 with the B section, but that's still not a full song. We need to arrange our full song, give it an intro, outro, that kind of thing. Finally, we'll do a quick mix cleanup at the end, and our track will be finished. So I'm going to move into Ableton now, and we're going to start working on this song. So the first thing I want to do is work on the core idea that I mentioned. So I'm going to loop a section here, and I want to figure out what style of music I want to make. I'm thinking probably quite a slow 110 beats per minute, deep house, chill house kind of vibe. So I'm going to start by pulling in a piano to write our chord progression. May not use a piano as the end instrument, but it's nice to write on. I like to write on pianos because it helps you not to focus on sound design or get distracted by any of that stuff. So I'll use this piano. And we'll pick any old key. I'm going to pick G, sharp, minor. Okay. I'm going to write in this chord progression as well because I know that many of you won't have a MIDI keyboard, and also because I've got latency on my keyboard. So, very cool hack for writing chord progressions. Even if you don't know theory, this can be helpful to you. Start with the bass line. So I'm going to put this metronome on. We're going to come up with a bass line melody and rhythm. Then we're going to build our chord progression on top of that. Now, I just turned down the metronome volume there. This is the preview or browser volume. Includes the metronome, includes any samples that we preview. So I'm going to make this a 4-bar progression. We've got our baseline melody there. I'm also going to save this. Now, I've got a naming system that I use, and please ignore all the random names. I just kind of look at something on my desk or in my office studio and use that word. But basically, as you can see here, I've got these numbers in 0.1. So the first number is the project number, as in all these numbers are different projects. The 0.1 is the version. You see that I've just got 0.1 here because I actually leave the second and third versions inside that project. So I'm going to call this 26, and I have a Red Bull sitting on my desk, so we're just going to call this Red Bull for now. We'll probably change that later on, especially if I ever release it. So I'm going to save that now so I can use the Command S function and start building a chord progression on top of this. I want to go up an octave straight away. A lot of producers will do this. They'll double up the bass line. Now there's a more efficient way of doing this. You can select all of this, Alt on my keyboard, and drag up. And I'm going to start building up the chord. So we'll start with building a fifth. If you want to figure out the fifth, which works well with the G sharp, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up. Boom, D sharp. And then we might add in a B, which is the third. We're going to use that kind of chord progression. I'm going to extend this. Because this chord here, the second chord that we've got, resolves nicely into what we call the root chord, the first one. Okay, so I'll make this a 4-bar loop again. And we are going to build out our melody. Now, again, I'm doing this all on the piano, but we are going to use different instruments. I just like to write on the piano. So where are we at in terms of timing? About 10 minutes. A little bit less because of the presentation. I think we need to repeat this chord here. So that's an okay melody, it's not too bad. I've just clicked Command J to consolidate this into one clip. So now we're going to change the melody in the second half. Two simple notes, we've extended it into an 8-bar melody, and now we are on to phase 2 of the process. And well, kind of in between phase 1 and phase 2, I didn't quite get that process right. If we have a look, I want to add some instruments in here, but before I do that, I want to add in some drums. So okay, so now we're on to phase 2 of the process. I'm going to add in some drums, and then we're going to come back to this clip. But I'm going to leave it playing for now, just so we have a reference. And I'm going to pull in some drums. Again, I want it to be a very kind of chill vibe. So I want a punchy but very soft kick like this. In fact, I'm not a huge fan of that. that could work. I'm going to just try it at 100 beats per minute. Now, one thing with music production is that you can have a process like this, which I've laid out, and we are following this, but somewhat loosely, because right now I don't actually want to build up the rest of the drums. I want to start adding in some instruments, including the bass line, because I've got this kick, and before I add in any percussion or claps or hi-hats, I want to make sure that we have the right vibe in terms of the instrumentation. So I'm actually going to mute this piano now. I want to pull in a pad or a chord sound, probably an electric piano of some sorts, that I can use for the main chord instrument. So I'm copying this MIDI clip over, Command C, Command V. I'm going to remove the melody, and we're just going to check out how this sounds. So I'm going to pull in vintage keys. Now, I don't really like that twangy sound. One way we can reduce this is by changing the velocity. So if we do cut above 64, we get a more mellow sound. It's essentially like playing the instrument softer. So I've got a keyboard here. If I click it hard, I get that sound. If I press it softly, we get a more mellow sound. So by putting Ableton's cut above 64 MIDI device on, we get a softer sound. Now I'm going to extend these two notes here. And I want to add some processing to this. The first thing I want to do is remove some of the lows. We're going to be adding a bass line underneath this. I want to add some chorus, even though it's got a little bit. And I like to play around with the amp, especially bass roundup. You can hear it adds a lot of warmth to it. Speaking of warmth, a little bit of saturation. Let's just check how this sounds. Gonna remove the chorus. Want a bit more reverb on here. Maybe some overdrive, just to give it a bit of grunt. And that's good for our first layer. So I'm going to group this. I'm going to call this chords. And I'm going to call this layer 1. Because it's nice, but it's not enough. We need like a synth layer in there. So I'm going to remove this group here. I'm going to remove the MIDI effect. And I'm going to scroll through some Serum presets. If you don't use Serum, then get it. You can go to splice.com and you can get it on a rent-to-own plan for just $10 a month. It's fantastic. So we certainly don't want something like that. I'm going to scroll through some of the pads on here and see what we can find. In fact, I know that I'm not going to find what I want, so I'm going to build my own patch. I don't really like that either. I think it needs a more organic sound. So I'm going to go back to contact, remove this group, and maybe we'll look at adding, maybe we will add a piano, but I'm just going to try some strings first. Sounds too dramatic. Try some horns. Also doesn't work, so I think I'm going to revert to our piano. We could try this piano actually. I think that works well. And I also want some Foley on here. So I'm going to search our sample packs for Foley. I don't really want Foley drums. And I want this to be sidechain. So we're actually going to create a sidechain trigger just here by pulling on the kick into a sampler and making a simple 4-on-the-floor pattern. Removing the sustain, so it just becomes a click. Muting this, calling it sidechain, and dragging that out. Now we'll add a compressor to this Foley so we get this sort of pumping sound. And I actually want to use another Foley sample there as well. That might work well. And I'll put this sidechain on the group. Add a touch of reverb to it. And we'll also try side chaining these chords. So that's coming along well. The next thing we want is a bass line. So a new MIDI track, call this bass. I'm going to pull in this here. And instead of deleting the melody line like we did on the past, we're going to actually delete all the chords. So we have this lowest voice here. Right? And now I'm going to probably use the Moog synth from Native Instruments. Really nice analog synth. Well, virtual analog synth. But it sounds beautiful. This will be a sub bass. Now, it sounds weird, the bass line going up here, so I actually want to take it down to the E. That also sounds weird. Now, sometimes you won't be able to hear with the sub bass whether it actually works that well, depending on your speakers. What you can do is just push it an octave up and listen to how well it works with the chords. So that works really well. So I'm going to keep it down there. I'm going to duplicate this because I want a higher layer, something with a bit more grit to it. EQ this out, and I'll keep going. So I think there was a sound back here somewhere that I liked. Honestly, it's a lot of basses. Yeah. I do like this one. But I think we need some sort of rhythm to this bass here. Something like this. Right, and then we'll repeat that out. How are we going for time? 30 minutes. So that's our two bass lines. We'll call this one sub. And this one bass. Now I want to start adding some drums. So I'm going to insert a few audio tracks here, pull the volume down. And one way I really like to work on drums is by finding a bunch of loops and then basically cutting them up so that they work. So I'm going to run through a few loops, see what I can find. If I find any individual samples that I like, I'll use those too. See, something like this, if we pull this in as a long background atmospheric effect, it could work really well. It's in the key of F sharp, so I'm going to warp this. Actually, we'll leave it because it's a long sample. We don't need it to be time. That sounds amazing. We'll put some sidechain on there. That's very low. So maybe I'll only have a segment of this. But that works well, right? What else do we have? There's a few packs I just know are not going to work. But something like this could. It is a hip hop loop, but because we're at 100 beats per minute, and this is at 90, I think it works really well. Maybe we can add a touch of sidechain to this. But I don't think so. I like the I like that kind of hit that. So I'm going to stick with that. It's great. I just need like a hi-hat and maybe a clap. Maybe something lo-fi like this would work well. And maybe not. That's fine. So I think I'm just going to go through and find these samples individually. I really like that. I think it will need laid with something, but it's got that nice watery sound. Now, guys, when you're working on your claps or you're adding in any sort of sample, make sure that the transient lines up with the kick more or less, or even a little bit before. It's missing something else. Yeah, that kind of higher clap, which shouldn't need any adjustment really. That just brings it together. So we'll copy that out. I'm just going to do some quick EQ to this. I think these might need shortened, so I'm just going to try and cut these. Use the Ableton's fade function. I actually like that having the short then the long, so we're going to use that. And then just a really simple hi-hat to kind of top it all off. And we might add in a shaker loop. And then maybe in another part of the song, we just up the energy a bit with a shaker loop. Something like this. Okay, almost done. We're looking at our process. We've built up the drums, we've built up some of the extras. I want to pull in the melody first before we... Though I do wonder if the melody should be in that B section. I'm not too sure. Let's pull in a MIDI track and find a good instrument to use for our melody. And just like you've seen me do already, I'm going to remove everything that is not what we want. You can use a 0 key on your keyboard to do this. I'm going to pull in Serum. Actually, I'm going to pull in Reactor. Reactor has some underrated synths like Contour, which I just love, especially the presets. I want to find a kind of organic sustained sound. So that'll be one layer, definitely. So like that, it's got a lot of reverb on it, which is nice. Bit of OTT. Cut the lows, which is a lot of. Get some sidechain on here. We'll group these into melody. Layer 1, layer 2. Yeah, I know I'm not consistent with my capitalization, but whatever. Not a strong sidechain. Just enough. And now I'm going to be working on the B section, and then we'll finish up our arrangement and do a quick mix. So I'm just going to delete all this stuff. And I want something similar, but maybe a bit simpler to use as our bridge or verse or whatever. So I'm going to pull out all the drums to begin with. Not the melody though. We'll leave that for now. I'm going to delete this vocal sample. I'll keep the bass line going. And maybe we'll find like a sample that we can use in here for our B section. So again, I'm just going to kind of go through a few sample packs, have a listen. How am I doing for time? Ideally, some sort of vocal sample. This could work. So a bit of sidechain on this. Maybe we can have some sort of melodic thing going on here. Sorry, up here. So. I kind of want the reverb to stop here. So, or at least no, I don't want it to learn. I want it to. Oh, it's totally messed up now. So I want there to be a lot of reverb here, but not over here. So that's our B section. I'm going to quickly organize this project, and then we're going to work on arranging things. So this is a composition. We'll just call this comp. We're not really going to touch this. Sidechain I want colored white. Don't really want to focus on that. Kick. I like to have all my drums blue. It's going to be a dark blue. And then we're going to call this melody in caps. It'll be green. As will all the group tracks underneath it. Layer 1, layer 2. We'll put a space in there just for sake of OCD. Everything's going to be in caps as well. Forget about that. It's just my timer for doing things. Layer 2 and layer 1. Audio is not being used. Claps, lighter blue. Assign color. Layer 1. Layer 2. Layer 3. We've got a hat here. Boom. Also blue. And tam loop. This is the perk loop. Going to group these two. Blue. Assign track colors. Okay, so that's our drums. I'm going to move the melody down. We've got this vocal sample. And that can be purple. We've got our vocal B, also purple. Loop. We'll call this chop. Purple. We've got our sub and our bass. I want these to be orange, as the same with the clips. Chords can be green. Foley purple. Vinyl and dry bush. I don't really care what it's called. Doesn't matter. There we go. Make sure that's the right color. So now I'm just going to organize the colors so that they're each in their respective spots. That looks good to me. So we've got two sections. We've got our B section and our A section. So I think this is going to work well as the intro. I'm going to have a 32-bar intro, and we're basically going to pull all these over, but not have it all play straight away, right? So let me just turn this off. I don't want the bass line coming in straight away. I don't want this ARP coming in straight away. So let's remove these. Well, first let's duplicate it out so it's 32 bars. In fact, I'm going to make it even simpler. I'm going to make it a 16-bar intro. Now, I don't want my tambourine loop in here either. And I don't even want my claps in the first 8 bars. Do not want my bass line. Definitely do not want the Vox B. Maybe this atmospheric sample. Yep, and we're going to have this kick kind of fade in. And I'm merging the mixing and arrangement stages at the moment, if you haven't noticed. No, that can come in from the other way. So, delete automation. Have something like this. Want the reverb to be quite low on this. And also for it to be fading in. Like so. We'll have the clap come in here. Fading in. This is going to fade out as the chords come in. And then we're going to have this melody come in here. we're going to go into the outro. Short song, short arrangement. Fade this out and fade the pluck out, and that'll be done. We're not going to spend any time on mixing really, just because I've gone over the hour, but that is basically start to finish a song. We started with a core idea. We then added some drums and other instruments. We made a B section. I've actually lost the vocal. I don't know where it's gone. We didn't use it anyway. And then we arranged, beginning with that B section, moving into the A section, the chorus, which is this here, and that chorus extends. This is not a super common arrangement, but you'll see it in some songs where they build into the main part of the song, and that main part just goes and goes and goes, and then it moves into the outro. So I'm just going to play this to finish things off, but I hope this helped. Hope you took something away that you can apply to your own productions.